Another exciting edition of the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. We are glad that you can join us again this morning. Another edition of the 12th August. September, sorry. You know, I think I'm still in August. But anyway, we're in September, a new month. And anyway, we thank God for this gift of life that He has given us. I am your host, Miriam Kaimba. And in studio, of course, I'm not alone. I'm joined by my beautiful colleague, Zipporah Mshala. Good morning, Zipporah. And how is your morning so far?
Good morning, Miriam. I'm good. I think my morning is fine because it's not hot, it's not cold as usual. The weather is just fine, although it's not
hot, you know.
It's fine, I think.
Yeah, it's hot.
I'm ready to actually get the week going. I think when it's cold, your mind freezes, but
really? I think it's better when it's cold, you know. I think it's better when it's cold, but when it's hot, you know, it's like everything just becomes stagnant because it's hot. You can't think properly. You're sweating and stuff like that. But anyway, all in all, it's a great month that we need to enjoy. Yeah, exactly.
I was in Livingstone. At 06, you're sweating and drinking water.
Imagine.
Really
Chirundo is worse, though. I've gone to Chirundo before. It's worse. Like this time, it's really worse. Yeah.
It's more like a desert.
So what do we have for our viewers this morning?
So at 7:30, we're going to be joined by Mr. Edwin Zulu, Executive Director of the Global Entrepreneurship Network, who's just going to help us discuss what opportunities does entrepreneurship in Zambia present in ending the country's poverty. And at 8 hours, expect to be joined by Western Province Minister Honorable Kapela Mangweta to just help us talk about local participation in development, what is happening there in Western Province, and how best can locals contribute to the country's development. But for now, we just jump into the health corner, and please remember that it is up for sponsorship. Please stay tuned in.
Good morning, Camnet viewers. Welcome to this episode of the Breakfast Show. And on today's Health Corner, we're continuing our discussion on cystic fibrosis that was started on Monday. And we're going to be focusing on the management of cystic fibrosis. My name is Salam Lenga, coming to you from the Medical Women's Association of Zambia, and a medical doctor, a pediatric registrar serving at the University Teaching Hospital's Children's Hospital here in Lusaka. Starting from Monday, we've been discussing a chronic genetic condition known as cystic fibrosis, and we discussed that this is a condition that was in past years exclusive to, or known to be exclusive only to the Caucasians or of European descent, but now we do know that indigenous Black Africans or indigenous Africans can and are being diagnosed with cystic fibrosis. We discussed yesterday that cystic fibrosis is multisystemic, and even though the most complaints are usually about the respiratory system, it can affect various organs, different organs in our system, and therefore complications can be very diverse and severe or mild depending on the extent of this complication. We discussed that enzyme deficiency are some of the complications that arise from cystic fibrosis, recurrent chest infections, recurrent difficulties in malabsorption, and therefore this child is malnourished or failing to thrive. These are children, because of this pancreatic damage, can present with diabetes, and therefore they have this inability to absorb the glucose that they need to, and therefore they're always hyperglycemic. We talked about how in males, especially if they're diagnosed earlier in life or later in life, say in the adolescence or adult age, their usual complaint is sterility or infertility, and those are some of the complications of cystic fibrosis. So how do we manage cystic fibrosis? We do know that it is multisystemic, and therefore management is multidisciplinary. It will involve so many specialty doctors, because not only will you need it from the time of delivery if this child is diagnosed in utero, but you should also then expect that if this child is born with cystic fibrosis, from the time that they're born, they'll need their pediatrician, they're going to need their physician or doctors, they're going to need even the specialist doctors, the pulmonologist, the gastroenterologist, all the doctors that are involved with the different systems of the human body. It therefore is important to know that it is a chronic condition that can only be managed at the moment, because there is no known cure. It will be something that as parents would need to know about from the time that we are genetically counseled if we're planning to have children. If we're documented to be carriers of this cystic fibrosis mutation, we know that there are variants of mutations that have been documented all over the world, and therefore karyotyping, genetic counseling comes into play for people who wish to know their status as far as cystic fibrosis is concerned, and their status as far as wanting to become parents. For a child or a person who's diagnosed with cystic fibrosis, it's therefore important then that we maintain good lung function, because the primary organ that is the main area of complaint is the respiratory system, which is the first to be compromised due to these recurrent chest infections, which can then also compromise the cardiac function, leading to cardiac failure or heart failure, which we know medically as cor pulmonale, because of your compromised lung function. So in management, we want to make sure that we're always clearing this mucus, which is thick and viscous due to this genetic condition that you have, and therefore we're always making sure that it's cleared, it is not affecting any other organ. If it is a newborn who needs to be cleared of this meconium ileus, that surgery is ultimately the option. If it cannot pass on the obstruction, will need to be cleared surgically, and that is why we're saying cystic fibrosis, being a multisystemic condition, will be managed by multiple disciplinaries in the medical field. Thank you for watching the Camnet Breakfast Show, and this has been the Health Corner with me, Salam Lenga, from the University Teaching Hospital and the Medical Women's Association of Zambia. Have a good day.
I hope you did learn one or two things there from Dr. Chisala Mlenga, all the way from the Women Medical Association, who have continued to bring us all those healthy tips and talks that you need to know on our daily lives. But anyway, moving forward, we go direct into our next segment, the money market, and also to our viewers out there, just to let you know that the money market, just like the Healthy Corner, is also up for sponsorship. So right about now, we'll go direct into our money market, and we see how the kwacha is performing against other currencies. So the United States dollar is buying at 15 kwacha 38 ngwe and selling at 15 kwacha 68 ngwe. The euro there is buying at 15 kwacha 46 ngwe and selling at 15 kwacha 77 ngwe. The British pound is buying at 17 kwacha 81 ngwe and selling at 18 kwacha 16 ngwe. The South African rand there is buying at 89 ngwe and selling at 91 ngwe. That is our foreign exchange for this morning, the 12th September 2022. Just to know our viewers out there, is that our Zambian kwacha is the world's best performing currency in the world against the US dollar, relying over 18.5% against the dollar from June 2022 to 1st September 2022. It's good that we have continued to see our kwacha, gaining momentum there, and we hope that as we go and move forward, we'll be able to see, a huge difference in terms of the prices of commodities. We hope that we can see a reduction, because of late we have seen a lot of people, complaining that despite, being a high a high difference, this huge difference, the price of commodities, keep on going high, and also the cost of living is high as well. Zipa, your thoughts there is, we are talking about the kwacha not only being the world-based performing currency in the world against the US dollar, but also against the entire world, not only in Africa. Your thoughts there?
Yes, definitely. So we have seen the kwacha actually improving. Miriam, just over the weekend, I was changing some dollars. And I was really sad. I had it was like 600 kwacha before, but then when I changed, it was like 440. I'm like, this money just a few months ago, it was this, now it has become, and it's good actually for our economy. We're headed in the right direction. And just our viewers out there, we have just now opened our phone lines officially so that you can call in and contribute to the topics that we have. And so right now we are joined by Mr. Edwin Zulu, who's the Managing Director of the Global Entrepreneurship Network, which helps people transform ideas into action. And at 8 hours, we're going to be joined by Western Province Minister Honorable Kapila Mangweta to help us talk about local participation in national development. So you can call on the numbers that are scrolling on your screen, or leave us a message on Facebook. How best you feel we can use entrepreneurship to end poverty? Our youth out there, our citizens out there actually embracing entrepreneurship. Welcome to the show, Mr. Zulu.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
It's good to have you. How is your morning so far?
The morning is very interesting, and also just listening to what you have said. At times I'm called to be Indian. And you'll be interested to learn that in India, when their currency has gone down, they're happy. Why? Because it reduces the cost of doing business. But you are saying the challenge we have in Zambia is that we have a lot of cartels. So that's why we need a lot of players in the business or in the market if we have to have commodities going, doing different things.
Yes, definitely. And we are expecting, is it a global entrepreneurship month? Can you just tell us when exactly this will be, and really what does the event hope to bring out?
Excellent. This coming November is a very special month for us in the Global Entrepreneurship Network family. The Global Entrepreneurship Week is basically a global event, as the name entails. It's managed under Kaufman Foundation and also the Global Entrepreneurship Network Global, with a HQ in Washington, D.C. And also with chapters in over 180 countries. And I'm happy that Zambia is part from inception in 2008. And having said that, the Global Entrepreneurship Week, our main global theme is unleashing ideas into action, into products, into business, into ventures. And the idea is the movement which is meant to help anybody, anywhere, doesn't matter where they come from, to be able to have capacity to turn their ideas into action, into products. But also with the focus that entrepreneurship is, yes, it's about making money, but it's more than that. It's about creating business solutions that addresses the economic, socio-economic challenges the various communities are facing. So it's very, very important. So having said that, in Zambia, and globally, the event takes place from the 14th to the 20th, but in Zambia we only go up to 18th, which is Monday to Friday. But also very important is that our national theme is focused on economic, transforming our natural, mineral, and cultural resources into economic, sustainable wealth creation for all. Now, from that point, what we've done is that the 5 days have been divided into different themes. So the first theme is focused on economic, transforming natural and cultural resources. Now, the second theme, which is very important, I think you are aware, there's a great talk and cry about the quality of education in Zambia and the quality of graduates we get. Now, what are we doing now, or what are we learning? You discover that one of the big problems this country has been facing is that our academia and industry, they don't talk. And that becomes a challenge, because then you have, for example, in some universities, I will not mention, the lecturer of engineering. This is a guy who graduated in 1974. So what is he teaching? Has he gone back to he's teaching history. Because history in engineering. And look, because technology has evolved. Now, how do we address that? It's about building partnerships between academia and industry. And also, part of the lecturers and tutors are supposed to come from industry as part of CSR. Now, when you do that, you are actually lessening the cost of doing business or running universities. But also very important, what you don't see in the universities of Zambia and colleges, you don't see the universities being leaders of entrepreneurship and innovation promotion. That's where we expect to have what you call innovation hubs, incubators. So this is what we're looking at. So the second day is basically we're inviting all universities and colleges of Zambia to basically be part of this process. And I think on Wednesday we should be having a meeting with PS Education just to look at how this should be done. So that day is basically also bringing industries to come and build this partnership. But also very important aspect, there's what we call spinning university and college in companies. Universities are supposed to be drivers of creation of new industries, new businesses, through projects students do. So we need to move away from academic papers into business, real business ideas, real business solutions that speaks to the industry and economic development challenges the country is going through. So that's what we'll be looking at on that particular day, and we expect that that should make an impact. But furthermore is that across the country, starting from primary school to secondary school, university, college, we are asking the Ministry of Education to ask all the teachers of business studies and also the deans of schools in all schools of across sectors to ask the students, and I'm asking them now, the students, wherever they are, to, between now and November, to basically identify 2 to 3 priority challenges they see in their community, including their school, at national or local level. So now what should they do? The next step, we're asking them to come up with viable, best possible business ideas they think, or solutions they think can be done to address that. So that's what entrepreneurship is all about. It's about when you see a challenge, you immediately tune into what should be done. You see? So that's the approach. So that's the mindset that we would want to have, not where you have social media complaints about this and this. What are you doing about it yourself? So that is very important. So that's the mindset we would want to see and promote across the country. And then by next year during the Youth Day, we should select the best ideas and be given teller support so that those are mature into ideas and business that can be commercialized. That is very important. I would like to tell you that some idea when I was in JETS at Chwala over 30 years ago, I think that should have been 1986. One of the ideas I was looking at is creating energy out of feces. You know, at school, we used to have, you know, like pit latrines, okay? In addition to the formal toilets, we had that. But look, that's a technology of today. Biogas. Eh?
Yes.
That's a technology of today. And I'm happy soon we should be implementing one of those technologies in Zambia. So you see, imagine if at that time there was a system to support me, I should have been a great guy. So, because, you know, so those are things we're looking at. Now, the third day is entrepreneurship inclusion, which is again talking about you. It's women entrepreneurship. So, on this day, it will be the women affair. All the leading women CEOs of banks and MDs, DGs of banks and leading businesses in Zambia will sit together with the other women SMEs, women leaders and business founders, including our mayor of the city and the vice president of this country, the leading women of this country, to come together to see and discuss what is these great women or senior women are doing to support women in entrepreneurship, women empowerment. So this is very important. The idea is that we should, at the end of it, be able to know where should a woman go and what support. But also the other aspect that will be looked at is how each organization should be able to showcase what they're doing, but also what is being put in place to create support system and mentorship for upcoming future women leaders. You know, one of the big problems this country has and the rest of Africa, let's say the Queen, Majesty Queen, the late.
Queen Elizabeth.
Yes. The now king, he was born being groomed to be a king. Now, if we want development, including among women, the youth, that's what we need. We need to have support systems for growing leadership. It's very, very important. Then the third day is for ecosystem, entrepreneurship ecosystem. The challenge we have in this country is that the players, actors, support mechanisms, the public sector, the private sector, NGOs supporting businesses don't speak together, don't work together, don't collaborate. They compete. There is no need for competition. And that's what the Global Entrepreneurship Network comes in, is to bring a platform which brings everybody. So again, I would like to use this platform to invite all those who are champions in different areas, including business consultants who do support SMEs, businesses. This is a platform you come and showcase what you do. The idea is that we need to go to a level where after this event to get to know in each province, in each district, who is doing what.
For the development.
For the development of the country. We can only develop it together, not individually, unfortunately. So these are issues which are very critical. But I forgot one thing because we started on a very interesting note. I'll be failing not to thank His Excellency, President HH, for doing what everybody failed to do, to give us our own Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprise Development. I think that's very important. We missed that one. I needed to thank His Excellency and his
I'm sure many
government to
will
do.
benefit. I'll just take you back a little bit, Mr. Zulu. You mentioned something interesting about engineering.
Excellent. Yes.
So basically, for example, here in Zambia, what is preventing maybe most engineers from creating, for example, airplanes from scratch, cars from scratch? Why is it that as African countries, or Zambia, let me speak specifically to Zambia, what is preventing us from actually starting to build a car from scratch or an aeroplane? You've never seen that done here.
Excellent.
We only had a vehicle assembly plant in the first, during the time of Dr. Camnet, but up to now, I think that thing has died. What are we missing as a country?
Well, I'll tell you something. I'm 54 years now, and I'm privileged to have started life at 4 years when I was part of the 4 years. I was part of 4 years, 1972. I was part of the construction of the Tazara with the Chinese. They used to come and pick me.
Interesting.
But yes, then my first business partnership was at 12 years with the National Media. Now, what am I saying again? Because of those backgrounds, when I was doing my studies, my business studies at NIEC School in the early 90s, what did I learn? One of the things I did during my internships around the industries, Zambia was one of the leading and most industrialized countries. Unfortunately, at 1994, what we did was to undo this, because the process of economic liberalization, we went there. It was not economic liberalization. What we basically did, privatization, was basically selling out our industries. Okay? And that was a well-calculated move by the West, unfortunately. But we can't keep crying about the West. So having said that, right now, even a country which started a new life, my country of Rwanda, go there. You can't compare the textile activities going there. Go to Rwanda. Look at the car. They are building cars we used to assemble.
Actually, Rwanda, is it a genocide?
Yes, yes.
We have been peaceful.
No. That's not peace. People in this country, they wake up very confused. Is that peace? There's so many problems. Poverty, what? That's not peace. So what we need, we are lucky. We have what President HH has done in the last 1 year is to create peace, where you can go and do business as an entrepreneur in a market or anywhere peacefully. So we have a fertile ground. So this is the starting point. But having said that, we need to also profile those Zambians who are doing it. And that's what also the Global Internship does. It brings a platform to recognize and award and appreciate those who are doing it and making a difference. So
have we really benefited have we really appreciated the benefit of entrepreneurship and what it brings in terms of economic transformation to the country?
No, not. We haven't appreciated. I'll tell you something. Wherever you stay, you could see what the Rwandans are doing. They run shops, and their shops are open as early as 7 hours. Okay?
And while we're sleeping.
Yeah, you're sleeping. But look, I stay in 10 miles, and my car is not on the road. So I have to make sure that by 5, I'm up to here. You see what I'm talking about? Yes, a mindset. You see? I didn't even have a timer. But I arrived here early, very much in time, almost an hour before. But having said that, I'll tell you, 94, when I left my last formal employment, I set up my first business, Ron Minimat and Butcheries, and which was the leading business in Charleston. We used to make a lot of money. That time there was no ShopRite, and you see, we had Zambia Airways. People were getting a lot of money. So we used to do serious business. Now, what time was I starting off my shop in Charleston? Coming from Cabanana, my shop would be open at 6 every day. And it closed at 22 hours. I'll drop one of my staff in Avondale, drop another in Tendele. By the time I reach home, it's about 23 hours. But again, early in the morning, from January to December, or January to January, my shop will be the first open. Are you getting that? So it's a mindset. Right now that with the coming of technology, and with my partners in the US, my partners in China, my partners in India, I have to make sure that I start my day early, I stop my day, I finish my day late. The idea is that I don't want to miss a day, because if I'm going to knock off like the general Zambian who does at 17 hours, what that means is that when my colleagues in the US are communicating, I'll always be a day before. Now, every day for your own information, my minimum hours I work is 18 hours every day. Up to about 20 hours of the 24 hours from January to December. My wife will tell you.
Is that healthy though?
It is very healthy. It's just a mindset. I'll tell you. If I take you to America, my first time to go to America was 22 years ago. And what did I learn? The last train in America stops at 01. And by 4, you can go in a restaurant and eat. These Zambians you see, these Africans you see, when they're in America, they work like slaves. They work 3-4 jobs for them to survive. But when we come here, we want to look smart and too. No. We need to change. Work hard. So it's about, there is no burnout. Don't be cheated to say, no, you workaholic. No. It's about putting in. Because you realize during the day I have a lot of meetings to take care of. But in the night, I would sit and work on projects, draft documents, work and communicate. And again, this culture where people, you have a country where email communication is not formal. This is sad. This is sad. I would like to tell Smart Zambia to wake up. We are not in 1964. We are not. I deal with the world, all I do is by email. If they want, I scan, send. But here, you'll be told, no, they've said you have to deliver a hard copy. Am I going to deliver? In Zambia, we need to check. We need to, when you're talking of the digitization, that's how Rwanda has beaten us to it. Rwanda, they are the ones who championed, and my brother, President Paul Kagame, is the one who started Smart Africa. Now here we wanted to pretend to say Smart Zambia, that initiated by who? That is a copyright from Rwanda.
Yes. I'm sure they have
yes. No, but you see, when you pretend it's yours, you cheat, because then when you are learning from somebody, why don't you learn as they do it? Rwanda, I didn't know. When I first went to India 17 years ago, I discovered that Zambia is not known in India. They know Zimbabwe. Why? Because they play cricket together. And also they knew Rwanda. Why? Because Rwanda worked with India to transform the ICT. And that's why Rwanda is where it is. So it's very important.
Moving forward, what would you like to see, given the fact that you have mentioned that we do not appreciate, what the benefit that entrepreneurship
having said that, I'm happy to report to you. We have a great ministry of SME with a great minister, Honorable Engineer Elias Mvanga. He's a great man. I went with him to Saudi Arabia.
Do you think the ministry is living up to its mandate?
No, the mandate, I'll tell you, I was privileged to. If you looked at their mandate, you need to get a copy of their mandate. It's excellent. But having said that, the ministry in its form needs a lot of support. My advice to my colleagues in the ministry and the Honorable Minister and also Cabinet is that we need to learn the Singapore model. The Singapore model determines that once you have the ministry, more especially the Department of Business Development, Support and Grants, it's well structured. So what that does, it partners with institutions like ours and other in different areas to deliver, to collaborate in implementing. So they will, for example, I'll give them a budget of activities I'm going to deliver per year, and they will give me 50% of that. And then they'll come and monitor against what we have agreed. Have we delivered? How many SMEs have we supported? How many what have we? And that's how the grant comes in and works. So having said that, for now, the ministry is well positioned because it has great, I've met the director of business development and grants. He's a great man. I've met our new lady. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate her, the new director of cooperative, the former principal, of cooperative college. These are guys who are ready to change things. So we should have a lot of expectations, but they need a lot of our support. My company, for example, the Elif Business Solutions, we turn 20 next year, and also GIN, the Global Inventorship Network, has various useful resources and tools that Zambia can use, but also a great platform across the world. We have within the network great countries that are leading, and they've been in SME development for many, many years. And my office and my president in the US, we are ready to support the government of Zambia in those processes. So I think, but also I would like to thank PS Yvonne. She's driving the ship well. I think she's putting up a good team and they're ready to move. I think for me that's very important. We have the engine to move things. So we should have a lot of expectations.
Okay, so as you conclude, like in your concluding remarks, maybe you can just respond to a question from one of our viewers here who says, on Facebook, who says, what causes many small businesses in Zambia to fail? So you can just couple that along with your concluding remarks.
What causes many
small businesses?
Yeah, what causes many small businesses to fail is, first of all, as a country, we don't have larger support systems. And this is what we're looking at with the ministry. We're already discussing. We should be able to put in various support systems across the country. Right now, I see people, everybody wants to come to the ministry. No, we need in each district and the province to have these support systems. And I'm happy to report to you that, and also privileged to congratulate the town clerks of Chipata, town clerk Adon Kamalondo, and of course the town clerk of Undola, town clerk of Mansa, town clerk of Livingston, and town clerk of Kasama, who have happily joined us and accepted to be our 2022 Global Entrepreneurship Week champions. So that is making a difference, where we're trying to bring ownership and leadership of business development by the councils themselves. And the task we've given them is to use our platform to actually galvanize, bring all other fellow town clerks and council secretaries work together, the DCs, and also the provincial local government development officers. So that's the direction we're moving. But very important is that I'd like to use this opportunity to invite all stakeholders in the entrepreneurship ecosystem, the banks, the industry, various organizations, to join us in partnering. But also I'd like to thank our partner, Ethiopian Airways. I would like to invite you, all of you, come and join and see what products we are bringing into homegrown tour packages. For you, we are giving a discount of 20% to all you Zambians. So if you participate in those packages,
I'm sure we'll come and cover you during that period. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, and it's now 8 hours time for our next segment. So just now, earlier, we did not get a chance to zoom our headlines, but just now we'll zoom into one of yesterday's stories as we jump into the next segment. We were joined by Mr. Edwin Zulu, who's the Managing Director for the Global Entrepreneurship Network. Thank you very much for coming on set. I'm sure we've learned a lot, especially the part of using entrepreneurship to solve local problems. I think that's my takeaway point from there. So just now we'll zoom into one of yesterday's stories, which is a story concerning child abuse. So before we play it, Miriam, can you just take us up to speed about that story?
So Zipporah, you know, most of the times we always, in our African setup, we always talk about, you know, disciplining a child. And then, but when we do it excessively, it changes, you know, child abuse, exactly. So this is a grandmother who is 44 to this beautiful baby girl who is only 5 years, who was badly beaten. If you see the child from the photos that were given, the child was badly abused from the face, the neck, the hands, the leg, everywhere you could see. And yet the mother, the grandmother claims she did not abuse the child. It's a very sad situation, but a lot of parents out there, do forget the fact that in as much as you discipline the child, there is a way that you need to do that, because if you do it in a bad way, in a bad manner, and end up injuring a child, you can be arrested for that. And the custodian sentence, Zipporah, for that, if you're found guilty by the court, is 5 years. Imagine.
Quite interesting. Before you get the whole story, let me watch it for myself. So
exactly.
That story, as we get into our next segment, we're going to be joined by Western Province Minister Honorable Kapela Bangweta to help us talk about how locals can actually participate actively in the development of the country. Do stay tuned in.
Culturally, when a child errs, you spank them to correct them. But if done excessively, the law calls it assault on a child, and the minimum custodian sentence, if found guilty, is 5 years. A 44-year-old woman of Lusaka's Kanyama compound has not been spared from spending a night in the cells of Kanyama police station after being reported of allegedly assaulting her granddaughter aged 5. Photos shared with Camnet TV of the minor shows how she has sustained injuries on her foot, palms, arms, neck, as well as the chest. However, her alleged abuser did not even have an explanation for the act. When questioned why she was allegedly physically abusing the minor, Martha Moyo refused, causing certain injuries on the child. However, she has admitted beating the child in a fit of rage on an account that she vomited the food she was given. If a national survey on the prevalence of grievous child spanking in the name of discipline is done, thousands of parents and guardians in Zambia would be found wanting. On several occasions, various child rights advocates have come forth strongly condemning any form of violence against children.
It's high time that we strengthened the protection system of children in Zambia, especially looking at the legislation of our country and the statutes that actually protect children in Zambia.
This is a manifestation of a violation of the rights of the children who require special attention and protection, including care from members of society, especially from their parents. So we need to work as various stakeholders, the family members, human rights defenders, the Ministry of Social Welfare and Community Development and Social Welfare, the Zambia Police Service, to ensure that children are protected, but also that parents who engage in such vices are guided, they are counseled, they are educated.
Every child has the right to grow up free from violence, abuse, neglect, and exploitation. But like many other African countries around the globe, children living in Zambia experience situations of violence in their homes and within their communities where they live. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet Television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet Television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
What began as a small vision, today it's become a big vision.
Camnet TV 10/6. As we celebrate this day, we say thank you to our viewers and clients for the support and making sure Camnet TV is your #1 station. A new chapter has started as we give you nothing but the best in our programming and reliable news Camnet TV offers through our dedicated management and staff members.
When God is within us, there's nothing that we cannot do.
Happy 60th anniversary. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Thank you so much for still staying tuned to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. In case you're just joining us, we move to our next segment, and in studio, for us who have just joined us, we have a special guest. You know, not much, you know, we have spoken about, of quite late, we have spoken about Western Province. And in studio this morning, we are joined by Western Province Minister Kapelwa Bangweta, and we are going to be looking at local participation in national development and also tackling on Western Province Tourism Trade and Investment Expo 2022. I know this province, you know, for quite some time, a lot of people would talk about and question how the development in that province is going. But anyway, we have the minister in studio who is going to help us go into details discussing on how local people are benefiting and the developments that are currently happening in that province. Good morning, Honorable, and welcome to the show.
Good morning, and thanks a lot for having me.
We're glad to have you.
Thank you so much.
First of all, Western Province is rarely talked about when it comes to tourism. What tourism potential does the province, your province, hold?
It holds a lot, and it's a pity that very little is talked about it, but we have a lot. This New Dawn government is supporting other way of a policy initiative, the Southwest Tourism Corridor, meaning that when tourists come to Livingstone, for example, they should be encouraged to go to Smalaha Conservancy in Mwandi, and from there they can go to Siomangweze National Park. We have the Ngonye Falls, and then to the Liua National Park. The Liua National Park is renowned for the wildlife, wild beast migration, second only to the Serengeti. But that information has not been highlighted very much. What the province is renowned for is the Komboka ceremony. But under this New Dawn government, we want to highlight these areas. We want to bring infrastructure to these areas so that tourism potential can be fully utilized just like in other regions. Yeah, of course, from the Liua, people can go to the Komboka ceremony if it's during that time, or if it's off-season, then the Nayuma Museum there, which has a historical perspective of the Lozi people. And of course, the government is going to put up a cultural village in Mongo. And then after that, people can come to the Kafua National Park, which borders with our province. So there's a lot in there, which just needs to be developed and highlighted.
Interesting. You know, you have mentioned quite a lot of these things that your province has. But, you know, I'm alive to the fact that this province has remained underdeveloped as a whole in comparison to Lusaka and Copperbelt. What plans do you have you lined up for your province?
Well, the first plan is what I've indicated, that the government policy to promote that corridor. As a matter of fact, we are also going to improve access to these tourist areas. So, for example, part of the reason why people have not been going to Liua, for example, has been the access, because between Kalabo and go to Liua, there's a river called Luanginga, and if the pontoon was not working, it means even if you are a tourist, you couldn't go. But we are going to put up a bridge, for example, to improve access. In the Liua National Park, for example, there hasn't been an airport, and so the consideration will be made to do that. And basically, the same thing goes to the other areas. They were not advertised. But now we are going to advertise, we are going to put facilities, and then tourists will definitely go there because what they want to see the wildlife, to live with the nature. And the two parks, as a matter of fact, are very different from others because that's where you find the people coexisting with animals. Yeah, so it's unlike other places where people are not found there, they will be poaching, but there you don't find that sort of thing. And so this is what we are working on to make sure that we attract people to come. Maybe the other people who were there before, either they were negligent or they had their own views, but now we are going to right all the wrongs. And that's what we are doing this year.
I love the point that you mentioned. We are going to, talk about all the wrongs. Just moving forward, I'm alive to the fact that this 2022 Expo is expected to bring a lot of economic benefit to the district. What is the kind of trade goes on in Western Province, and how do you think this benefits the locals?
Western Province borders Angola, borders Namibia. But in terms of organized trade to Angola, which is the biggest market, that has not been fully utilized and fully developed because in any case, there are no proper borders in the context of you have a road and one stop shop where people can do what is required. So to travel to Angola, it's very difficult because the roads are not there. But this government is going to do that. What has Western Province got in terms of trade to offer to other areas? One, we have got a lot of beef animals, cattle, but due to historical facts of the way things were organized, even our beef had difficulties to come even to Lusaka, because of animal diseases and all these other impediments. But that we are going to fix. Western Province, including my own constituency in Kayema, produces a lot of maize, and now soybeans. And the Kaoma and the Nkema also, they produce tobacco. That again is a cash crop in the context of the arrangement. There's a lot of fish which is gotten from Western Province by other people from other areas. We have cashew nuts. All these products which people sell to other areas and so on. But we want to upscale. Of course, the Mongo rice, which is renowned for
the famous Mongo rice.
The famous Mongo rice, yes. But even that, we want to upscale the productivity in the way the rice is produced, in the way the rice is packaged, and so on, in order to add the value. Western Province also is renowned for various species of timber. Again, these have not been exploited properly in the context that we have been selling logs to other areas, other countries, and locally no value addition has been made to the products sold. And of course, this government is of the view that each province, each area must use the competitive advantage which they have, and in that context, then they should be able to add value to the products that are found in those areas. So in this particular arrangement, then it means that if the productivity of rice is improved through maybe outgrower schemes, what would happen then is that we package the rice locally and add value. If we do that, we create employment. The same way goes for timber products. There is no reason why we should not have factories manufacturing various items of high value, which are sold locally. Again, if we do that, we create employment. Currently, we have a lot of mangoes which are just, during the rain season, they just rot and so on. But again, if we have somebody put up a factory and so on, you can dry them and all sorts of things can happen. But again, this is what has been missing in the past, which this time around we are going to fix.
The political will.
Yes.
Yes. And speaking of value addition, when you look at value addition, I think that's one thing that Zambia has been talking about for a long time. But what are we missing to actually implement this? Maybe is it about investors? Do we have the money as a country? Like, what do we need to actually put these plans into reality? Because we find that maybe each government that comes talks about value addition, but at the end of the day, it's just talk. What do we need to do as a country? And really, like, what confidence do we have, for example, now that the Western Province Minister, to push for such things such as establishing a fruit plant? We saw in Minilunga recently, the Canele fruit plant was actually commissioned. So, like, what are the prospects of development, or what hope do Zambians have saying, okay, now it no longer just be words, this will be done?
Exactly.
The same example.
Most of the time, they would, mistaken politician of having only talk when they come on such platforms. What confidence do you give them now?
The same example you have given. You know, we who went to school during the Kaunda days, Kaunda and his colleagues had very good ideas. You know, they wanted factories literally in each district and so on. So even the factory you are talking about in Minilunga, where the president went to do for pineapples, that's a political will we are talking about. Are you not surprised that from Kaunda day that thing was dead, but within 1 year, our president has done it, and it's not only going to process pineapples, but other fruits as well. So the same arrangement you have seen in Minilunga is the same arrangement which we have in the context of the need to do value addition to products locally. That is very, very important. The issue of the school desks we are talking about, are you not surprised, or let me put it this way, that it is not shameful that a place like Western Province, Kaoma, Sesheke, Sioma, Mlobezi, a lot of timber concessions were being given, but the people who were given those concessions could not even make school desks for the children in the areas where they were operating from. But within 1 year, you know that our president has said by next year, December, we do not want to see a child sitting on the floor. So that is the political we were talking about, using the local resources. And that's why we have this arrangement to say we want the local resources to be used to add value and make things locally. So the desks are going to be made locally using the local resources, and all of us at the end of the day will be winners in the context that the children will be sitting properly and comfortably. We'll be creating employment through the people who are going to be employed to do the work, and we'll make more money because those desks then will be sold to other areas who might not be endowed to have desks or trees from which you can make desks. From those areas, of course, we'll buy those things like from Minilunga, where they are going to make those candy fruits, whether from groundnuts, from this and the others. That's the way it should work. Yeah.
Talking about empowering the local people in your province, have your people out there, adopted the concept of taking advantage of cooperatives, especially given the fact that we now have the constituency development funds, which has been increased from 25.7 million kwacha?
Yes, and the issue of cooperatives will vary from place to place. Okay, in the agricultural well-disposed places like Kaoma, Nkeyema, Luampa, Mangango, where people have been used to working as a group, the idea of forming cooperatives was not a problem because the way they have been accessing even the fertilizer support for a very long time. Yeah. So this time around it was to accelerate. The one where was a slow take-up were in those areas where they had no cooperatives before or other way of life. But that idea, of course, has caught up. Everybody had seen the benefit of working as a group, because as a group we achieve more, as individuals very little, and it's easier to take services to a group of people. So we are saying yes, the people are very happy about what has happened. people have started accessing and benefiting from this arrangement. I'm sure on the small screen you have seen in certain areas people getting their checks to start operating and then getting involved in livelihood activities. So yes, they are okay.
And speaking of cooperatives, Honorable, we've seen this notion, okay, of course CDF is meant to develop the country at grassroots, but we've seen this trend around the country where regardless of whatever area maybe that cooperative is based, everyone is engaging in chicken rearing, the same usual things. But for example, you said Western Province has a lot of fruits. Have we seen maybe cooperatives that are unique to the needs of each area, or maybe is there a need for people to be sensitized? For example, someone can...
well, I just hold your thought there. We have a caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
You are through to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. Who are we talking to this morning? Please go ahead with your contribution, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, I think, first of all, we thank God, we appreciate the two guests that on set. I want to begin by contributing using the first guest that you had. I remember what you said. You said the world is evolving, and these lecturers that are lecturing in these universities who graduated probably in 1974, 1984, what is it that they are lecturing? Because technology has evolved. So based on that contribution that I got, I strongly feel that at the moment in Zambia, so that's my personal feeling, at the moment in Zambia, we don't actually have universities. What is the purpose for a university? If you go back to the Kaunda days, Kaunda had reasons why he put up these universities was to have people that are going to be working in these factories like our current case is saying. And he achieved his objective. When the universities were producing, the government was able to get these people straight into employment. Up until probably in the 90s or in 2000, somewhere there, I felt that vision needed to be transformed into another vision. Because it's at the situation where we are producing people who are graduates every day on the streets. They are not doing at the university. You are producing people who are just going to be on the street. Then it means your existence is not really supporting the economy. So for me, I think it's high time that we revise our education system in Zambia and set out priorities. What is it that we want to see Zambia? What's the next step that Zambia should be going to? Come up with 4 things. If it's infrastructure, we will be producing engineers that are going to be taking over the work that these foreign companies are doing. Because this country will not develop without the involvement of the locals. So I think the university curriculum needs to be changed. We need to be producing people straight away when we produce them. They are able to contribute to the well-being of this country and not produce people and keep them in the homes and the streets for more than 5-6 years. That's wasteful of resources. Can the government will say what is it that we want and change our curriculum? Right now we're using a system where a child from grade 1 up to grade 12, you are bombarding them with 12 subjects. So what? Even when you go to developed countries, you will not see a child being bombarded with 12 subjects. Can you identify what is it that this child is good in? And maybe combine 4 subjects that will help that child become a more valuable and will contribute to the economy of this country in a more positive way. I think we need to change our education system. We need to produce people immediately that will give us results. Secondly, in the government system, this is my thing. I feel we have people that overstay. Someone should not work until it's after 55, 60 years. That's when we're talking about retirement. No! They need to retire when they still have the energy to contribute. So for me, my take is if someone works for 20 years maximum, whether that person is 55 or not, that person should be able to leave the government service, let other people with new ideas come and take this country No wonder we are almost struggling with the same.
You need to get wind up with your contribution.
And systems are changed. We need you thinking new that.
All right, thank you very much for your contribution. So I think it also relates to what we're talking about. Because
exactly.
We're talking about finding local solutions to solve
Zambia's poverty.
Yes. So I think that relates to what we're talking about right now. And right now we're in relation to Western Province. So we do acknowledge that contribution. And so maybe Honorable, just to finish up from where we ended, since that question was not directed, it was from the previous. Like, have we seen cooperatives unique to the needs of each area? Or are we just having this general mindset of chickeneering and such similar things across the country uniform? Is it possible for us to have tailor-made cooperatives, like maybe Western Province, like you said, the mangoes, maybe those cooperatives are maybe processing these mangoes at a smaller scale, they're processing this timber at a smaller scale. How are we seeing that, or maybe is there need for sensitization? Is it even possible in the first place?
Yes, it's possible, but we need to do a lot of work at that, because as you are aware, to do new things is always very difficult because you don't know what you are going to find. So you are comfortable for people to have seen what has worked before. So people, it's true, they need to be incentivized to be a bit more creative and to do different things from each other. In those areas where you have that arrangement, you'll find that, yes, people are not just going for chickens. Some of them have gotten hammer mills. Some of them have gotten other things to do. But of course, a lot of work needs to be done to make sure that people don't fear change. Yeah.
There's a comment here from our Facebook viewer, rather than a question, which says, but why has Western Province remained severely underdeveloped, despite you mentioning all these things that the province brings out?
Yes, you remember I said, it was deliberate, okay, from the past. Because the point is, there's a lot of potential, but the issue is, was that potential used? It wasn't, okay? That tells you a story of if you like, the responsibility of the past, which we are going to fix. Western Province didn't even have an expo over this period. I mean, why would a province fail to have a government program? And this program is meant actually to show the potential which is there. That tells you a story. And so this is the reason I've said we are going to fix the ills of the past. We are saying Liua is only second to the Serengeti. How come people even in Zambia, they don't know Liua? How come nobody thought of putting access to get to Liua? I've just told you this government is going to put a bridge between Kalavo and Liua on the Lwanginga, which means to get to Liua, it will be any time you want to get there. Okay, so it's access. The other governments, what did they do? They didn't do anything. Maybe because they didn't consider that to be important. But if once we do the access, then it will be possible to get there. The same arrangement for Smalaha. Smalaha had to get from Livingstone to Smalaha would take maybe 2.5 hours. But because the road was not done, who would want to subject themselves to that sort of thing? They wouldn't. So we are going to fix the road. Once that is done, tourists will get there.
And how soon are you promising
very
the people
soon,
there
soon.
That you're going to fix it?
Very
fix the road. Exactly. People would want to know when are the roads starting.
2 weeks ago, I think you know very well that we went to Liua, we went to Cassava Bay, we went to the Mesos Lodge. And the president, the day before yesterday, he spoke about this, not so? Yeah, so it's soon.
And Honorable, speaking of Western Province, people always think about oil. Like, what are the prospects? Is there even oil, first of all? We hear all these...
Zipporah, just hold your thoughts.
Oh, there's another caller.
Hello?
Hello, good morning. You're through to the
Good morning, how are you?
We are okay, and how are you?
Yeah, this is Mr. Mukuma from Livingstone.
It's good to know that Livingstone is watching. Please go ahead with your contribution or your question.
Yes. I want to answer that question that has been given to me. Mr. to say why is Western provinces lagging behind when they are boasting of so many resources. The problem is the same members of parliament that represent the people of Western province. Myself, I come from Nyambi in a Wampa constitution. That time it was Mulobesi constitution. What it is that these people that who call themselves members of parliament, they only look at themselves. They have got no developmental agenda for Western province. It's not the issue of patriotic trust, because I've already been saying that what did the other government do? The bridge to Kalabo, it was done by the last two governments, maybe NNPS. But in the unique government, still nothing there. You know, so as well back as the domestic, there's nothing that has been happening. The problem is these people MPs, like the one they are doing now, you can see. They are just doing it to tell you, yeah, you can be in Newton, what was. When this Newton has gone, others again will come and start saying, no, the Newton was not being fast. Let me advise you, Mr. Mangweta, who is the leader of Western province. Now, beginning to push a developmental agenda, even when you are UPNP, push a developmental agenda. Don't do Kukupela. People want to see development. When you go to Rwanda, there is nothing in the Mangweta. That road has been eroded, and the people are busy bringing in timber to Kaoma, and those tracks have wasted that road. No! Please, develop Western province. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you
so much for your contribution.
You can see the passion there. And so
I can see the passion there.
So I can answer him.
Yes, please, you can go ahead.
First of all, I appreciate what he has said, but here is what I mean. To get to Western province, you have to go through Mongol Saka Road. There's a bridge in Gafia National Park, which that government, which has just gone, they abandoned. That bridge was made by Kaunda when I was young, okay? To get to Western province when during the First Republic, if the pontoon was not working, you could spend a week in the park. But Kaunda and his people put up that bridge. A distance which used to take maybe 3 days came to 7 hours. That is what we mean development by the government. The previous government, that bridge, they put up a temporary bridge with a view to fix the bridge, the original bridge. They abandoned that. We are fixing that bridge as the UPND. By December, that bridge will be done. And once that bridge is done, all the downstream roads will be fixed. Is that not development? We have fixed the road to Shangombo. It used to take, you couldn't travel from Shangombo to go to Mongo and come back. You can do that now. This is within 1 year. So what development is he talking about? And I've just told you that we are going to put up a bridge in Rwanginga to join the two places. Since independence, nobody could think about that, but Liua and those animals have been there. And second to Africa, but nobody put. Is that not very good? We're going to do the airport as well in Kalab. So this is what we mean when we say this government, unlike these other governments, the responsibility we are talking about, that's exactly what I mean. How could you fail to do a government program in Western province when everybody pays taxes? If I ask you, I mean, this gentleman, the people who were in the PF government, why didn't they make an expo? Was that to do with the MPs? No, it was the executive actually. It was the executive's responsibility because all the taxes go to the central place, and when you start development, you give. That's why even the presidential speech, he was saying we are going to bring development to your place, this place, we are going to put this, that place, we are going to put this. Even what we are going to do in Liua, I've indicated to you that we are going to do something in the Zambezi source, something in Sombo Lodge, and it's the same. The place where the Zambezi passes through so many countries, you have the falls, one of the 7 wonders of the world, but you neglect where it comes from. What is the meaning? If you go to Niagara Falls in Canada, you see what has been done by way of tourism. That's what we want to do for the Zambezi source. That's what development is all about. Okay? So it's not a question that the MPs are not engaged. They are. They are. And under the new arrangement, we were just talking about the CDF here. So if somebody comes from a particular area, they utilize that 25.7 million within the rules and the regulations, but with development driven from the bottom, from the people there.
Interesting. So I hope to have you out there, I hope your question has been answered comprehensively. And so, Honorable, earlier we were talking about oil. Is there oil, maybe is there an exploration going on? Since the Western province is near Angola there, what is the status concerning the oil that we've been hearing about in Western province?
The exploration part has not been done to the full. I'll agree. But definitely you cannot say...
Don't finish our oral discussion today. We have another call.
Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Morning, thank you. Good morning.
You're through to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. Who are we speaking to this morning?
I'm Stephen Likua Stephen calling you from Solwezi, Northwestern.
It's good to know that Solwezi is watching. Please go ahead with your contribution, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to see the Minister for Western Province there explaining some of the projects and development the government is planning to do and what, according to him, what we have done so far. But my main concern is just to say the truth and advise the Minister. Sometimes when he asks people on the ground when we are talking, it's better you listen to us because, honestly speaking, this is our government. We fought hard to have this government in power, but the government is doing nothing. In terms of developmental projects, honestly speaking, I am hearing no president for this. If you come to Solwezi, there is nothing, totally nothing which is happening in Solwezi. What we can say, like the previous government used to say that so but now here, that we have done this and this. I mean, so when I go around with my vehicle here, there is nothing which is happening. So the government, the UPND government we have currently, avoid stories and speeches and go on the ground and work. Must be people with actions, not talking only, no, because it's us who are seeing what is happening. That is the advice I can give the UPND government, and for now, we know that the government has made better plans for the future, but in the 1 year, I can say that 5% of the projects, there is nothing the government has done. I think let me not talk too much. That is enough. The government should listen to us and then let them wait, not stories and speeches. No, we are tired of these speeches.
Thank you so much. Maybe before you would jump in with your question, maybe you can respond to
yes,
that.
I can
respond to the call.
You are the one who said the president opened the canning factory in Minonga, not so? What do you call that? In the context of what he just said. What do you call that? That's what it is.
Okay, so we have the former party saying most of the things that have been commissioned were actually done by them.
Done by them.
So
yes.
maybe as you respond to the caller, you can also address that concern.
Yes, the issue is this that governance means that the following government will take over from where the other one left. But the point is, in relative terms, that government left so many things undone, abandoned. Okay, I mean, let me talk about my constituency in Kema, where I come from. The bomber was proclaimed in 2013, okay, to make a boma in Nkeyema. All the houses are still in the soil. Do you call that development? And you go to Mitete, you find the same story. You go to Skongo, you find the same story. Is that the way you should work? And this is the reason why when the president said we are going to finish those projects, because it means that that government should have finished. I've just talked about the bridge. The bridge in Gafia National Park was commissioned with the view that they would do it for 18 months in 2015. This is the 2022. We are going to finish that bridge within, by at least the second or third week of December. From 2015 to 2022, how many years is that? And from 2021 to 2022, how many years? So who is the performer between the two? It's a no-brainer. The point is, everybody knows how incompetent they were. It's not a story, but it's there. Okay? Mongoli Munga Road, they abandoned it. We are going to finish it before the end of this year.
And speaking of abandoned road, you've had a lot of contractors actually abandoning the works. Is it a matter of how these contractors are chosen? For example, we have the Sikongo Kalabo Road, which was actually abandoned by a constructor. Like, how can we prevent such issues now going forward?
Now going forward, first of all, there will not be corruption like what used to happen in the past. There were a lot of backhanders and people were not interested in safe delivery. This is why, if you listen to Parliament, there are so many projects relating to roads, especially under the Ministry of Local Government. But most of those were phantoms. Okay? And now when the government is trying to hold people accountable, people are crying to say you are being unreasonable. It's all of us Zambians who should be looking for our money, which has not worked for us. Okay? It has not worked for us because all of us pay taxes. Taxes is where development comes from. And so if you are paying taxes but there is no development coming, you should be asking where is the money going? Because for taxes, whatever you do, whether you are buying something, whether you are getting paid, whether money is going, we must see something tangible. And that's where we are saying, in the context of what used to happen in the past, there is no better demonstration of irresponsibility. Because we have nothing to touch. I mean, this country borrowed so much under the PF. If you come from Western Province, where can you touch it to say, yes, the country is bankrupt, but this is where we can get? For Kaunda, I can tell you, during my days, they made the Sesheke Livingston Road. They made the Mongo Lusaka Road. They made the bridge. They brought power. They did this, and that is what you expect from central government. For this government, in the 10 years they have done, what have they done in the context of Western Province? This is what we are talking about. Okay, for other areas maybe, but they were so irresponsible. But we are going to fix their irresponsibility and show that this is how you manage things, like what we are doing. And then we don't expect people going crying that, oh, this is this and that. There's nothing like that. When they were doing wrong things, they were doing wrong things personally, not on behalf of a clan or a group. And so they must be answerable as the individuals. That's all there is to it.
And speaking, since we're talking about development, we're talking about the expo that is coming, which obviously is going to bring some level of development. So it will be held, is it next month in October?
Yes, it will be from the 10th to the 15th of October.
Yeah, so how does this expo handle tackle issues of deforestation, job creation, and value addition?
Okay, so what is meant, the expo first and foremost, the idea behind it, or behind the expos, is to show the potential which is available in a particular area.
I just hold your thought there. We have a caller. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
You're through to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. Who are we speaking to this morning?
You are speaking to Mr. Kokoto from Livingston.
It's good to know that Livingston is watching. Please go ahead with your contribution, sir.
Yes, I want to ask the minister how far is it going for Narikwata Road? Because people of Narikwata have been suffered for quite a long time. How far is the minister gone?
Okay.
It's very near.
Thank you.
It's very near. Actually, you see, very, very near.
Sorry, but I think you are not there. They want it's very near.
Yes, they want yes, they want a time frame like within three months, within a year, you know.
Such and such funds from
exactly
here have been set aside for this.
And you
make sure that's the reality.
Exactly.
I cannot give you the exact date, but that is very, very much advanced. It's very, very much advanced. That's why he's asking, because even he knows that something is being done. Okay? I can't give you a date. I can't give you a date, but definitely that is in process. Yes, it's in process. It's not a story. You see, there's a difference between us and the people who have gone. Okay? First, as a general principle, even here I've already explained to say, in our arrangement, what we thought in our own wisdom, it could be faulty, but this is the way we thought the priority would be. First of all, we'll fix the bridge in the Cafe National Park. Okay? Because after that, all the things which go to fix roads in the Western Province, we need to pass on that bridge. So it needs to be fixed. And I've said, by second, third week of December, things will be done and dusted, and all systems go. But that is the principal thing, or the linchpin. Why? Because the Sesheke, Livingstone Road, is very bad. The other way to access Western Province would be from Kasempa through Kaoma. So it stands to reason that if you wanted to fix anything beyond TBZ, you needed first to fix the bridge. And this is what we are doing. Once that is done, perfect. What he has asked for, that road will be done. It's not a story now.
Okay. And then we hope to see that done soon.
Yes, soon.
And we were earlier talking about the expo, like how will it handle issues of deforestation, value addition, employment creation, and sustainable development.
Okay, so what it is that the idea of expos first is to showcase the potential in a particular area. Okay, so to make it more focused, what you do or what we have done is to do investment profiles for each district of our 16 districts. To say, if you come to Mlobezi, this is the potential which is there. Which is what? Timber, for example. So there are potential to do this and the other. Now, coming to the issue of the environment. Firstly, now the environment ought to be protected because all of us in the world are endangered. Now, what do we want to do? Is to appreciate, as Western Province, these other areas where they are looking after their forests. Okay? You are aware that 2.5 weeks ago or so, there were 9 chiefdoms in Eastern Province who were sharing $3.2 million in those chiefdoms because they have known how to look after their forests. Okay, so it's that sort of knowledge. Maybe we ask the people who are managing that project or people who have knowledge to say, okay, can they come to the expo, interact with our traditional leadership and indeed other interested groups of people to see how the environment can be sustained and what can we get in return. Just like those other people got some funding which helps to mitigate the idea that if I stop, for example, cutting trees to do malasha, I take my children to school through selling malasha, cutting trees. If I stop that, how am I going to take my children to school? So that is the alternative livelihood which comes from for example, earning carbon credits. It means you have to plant trees and so on and so. So what do you get in return? How that works? Then you get confidence from the people who have benefited to share with the other people. So even our people, then they appreciate, oh, if we do this, then this is what happens. That is the part of the package for the expo in that context. Job creation, how does that work? It works in the context that if an investor hopes to come and work with the local people, for example, those who have forests, the local people, what is their capital they are going to put in the business? It's their forest, the land. The other investors, what are they bringing? They are bringing capital and equipment. They make a company. They start making those high-value items. Everybody is a winner. One, by having that project, work or employment is being created. And then they manage the arrangements at a proper arrangement because they are adding value to the product, so they are able to sell them slightly more, making a bit of money. The environment also is sustainable in the context that now under the new order, they know that because they are the owner, they have to keep on planting trees, which is not happening. At the moment, people just cut trees and they send them away.
As we come to the conclusion of our program, Zambia by 2030 hopes to become a prosperous middle-income country. Is Western Province in the right trajectory in attaining this goal with the rest of the country?
Yes, it is, because one, by our approach in the New Dawn, is to encourage that each province, each region must utilize to the full the resources with which it is endowed, okay? And there must be local participation. There must be local empowerment. And so the people who are coming from outside in whatever shape or form, they bring in knowledge, they bring capital, but the people locally, they have the resources, they have the land, they have the knowledge, they have also the labor to work with the people. And then, of course, we bring up the well-being of the people by having all these projects, by putting also infrastructure in these areas where they know infrastructure, so that there's access to the market. Even people who are growing things in particular areas, if the roads are good, the communication is good, then it makes life easier in all human indices. That's what is intended. So we should be ready by that time.
Interesting.
Maybe you can just give your concluding remarks on the overall program that we had.
I'm thankful for the opportunity to have shared a few thoughts with the colleagues. Of course, we respect the views of the people who called. In a democracy, we have to listen to each other, appreciate each other's perspective, but definitely the New Dawn is not like the people who have gone making promises which they don't intend to keep. We intend to keep our promises. Finally, we want to thank our sponsors for the expo. We still ask for other people to come on board as sponsors, as exhibitors. I want also finally to thank my colleagues on the organizing committee for putting so much effort in the arrangements for the general good. So, and finally, I invite you to the expo from the 10th to the 15th of October. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for coming here on sit. Okay, so that has been Honorable Kapela Mbangweta, Western Province Minister, as well as Nkema, Member of Parliament, discussing the 2022 expo that is going to be held next month, as well as overall local participation in national development. Earlier, we are joined by Mr. Edwin Zulu from the Global Entrepreneurship Network, talking about their opportunities that entrepreneurship provides in ending poverty in the country. So thank you to our viewers who joined us both on Facebook and via our phone lines. Do remember to join us tomorrow for another interesting edition. Miriam?
I thought you were going to do the closing because you already did the thank you very much and the whole stuff. But anyway, thank you so much to our viewers out there, our production team, our floor manager, Elias, and Mr. Munungwe, I see you there upstairs. Anyway, it's bye-bye from me, Miriam Kaimba, and my colleague Zipporam Shala. Until we meet again tomorrow, the same time.